of course, you already know how to build things, change things. You should have done 8 of the tutorials, and you can bring objects in. You can go and search for different types of objects. So creatures and characters. There's some interesting stuff in there. You can also hit the search button to find different things as well. You can move them. When they come into whatever face you put them on. So you can actually put them onto faces, so it picks a position on an object. So he's now on top. You can also move them up with the black arrow, resize them with the grips, and if you really want to know where they are, go to the right view and the top view, and you'll be able to see. And that's about as far as I'm going with these, except what we're going to show, and what I'm going to show you today, is how you can actually simulate real gravity. So this guy's going to fall over onto here. And let's put a, oops, I've resized that by mistake. I'm going to put a balloon, sorry, a sphere under this guy. So let's bring them both up a little. So this is how simulation works. You go and click on the Sim Lab, which is Isaac Newton's falling apple. He's the one who figured out many of the science of gravity. So you go into Sim Lab. The way Sim Lab works is you hit play, and whatever needed to happen with gravity happens. And what you can see there, these guys all fell. Now if you want to reset it, you can reset it and play, and you can actually turn around while it's playing. They're still falling over. You can zoom in, and you can also grab the timeline here and reverse the action. So that's pretty cool. Let's look at some of the other things. So when you're playing, you can also throw random objects at everything, or you can pick a particular, there's a pig or a piggy bank, there's an anvil. The anvil is going to be the heaviest because it's made out of metal. Now, when you are in the Sim Lab, you can also change the materials and the color of the materials. So if you make it out of bouncy rubber, you'll see the text changes. And now when I play, this guy's going to bounce around somewhat more and not super obvious. Each of those has a density. So if I hit that now, it's probably going to bounce more. You can also change the grid size. So go back to modeling, and you can change the grid size if you need it bigger or something. And back to Sim Lab. So now it's a bigger area. So if I can also show connectors, show hidden shapes and hide connectors. These are the connectors, which I'll do for a second video. We can also change the material of the base. So if I go to, for example, steel, you'll see it has a different texture and some reflection. You'll also notice it has properties. There's friction, density at the bottom, and if it is an object, you'll see it also works out the mass depending on the volume and the density. There's also a restitution, which is, I think, the sort of bounciness. If you look at different materials, the default materials, plastic, concrete. There's concrete's about the same. Ice looks about the same. But they also have different frictional characteristics which you can't see. Polystyrene is a lower restitution. So that is the Sim Lab. Now, if you work hard on your work, like Evan Blood has, he's got a setup here which is quite complicated. So he's got a sphere that's going to take off. I forgot to mention, if you want to fix something in place, you can click on it and you click this little button here, make static. And that would mean when you do simulate it, you can do whatever you want and it will not move, whereas the other one can be moved. Okay, so let's go and see how this works. So if I press play on this one, the ball rolls down here and sets off the dominoes, which he made himself. And they're actually going slightly uphill, so they're using the potential energy. And then it sets this off. And the idea is going to try and get it into a spot. And I don't know what the record is for how long these could last. So that is the basics of Sim Lab. So that is lesson 1 in modeling, 3D modeling in Tinkercad. Lesson 2 is using the connectors, which I'm going to show you next. Thank you and enjoy.